There we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome. As we are here, your Nerd Initiative team, we got some things to talk about, Stranger Things today. So first things first, I am Matt, the editor-in-chief here at Nerd Initiative. It's been a while since we've had something going here, and what better way to get back than Stranger Things? So hop in the comments. If you got some thoughts, post them in the comments. Let's have a discussion. I am joined by three other fabulous, amazing, beautiful people, as you can see here. We got Chris, our senior movies writer over here. We got Thomas, our video extraordinaire. He reviews comic books, and he's got some other good things that are coming up in 2026 for the website. And then of course we got Megan, who often just likes to correct me, and she just forgets about me in our joint reviews, so I don't really know what she does here.
It's been like a month. It hasn't happened in a month.
That's true. That is true.
That was last year's problem.
Listen, new year to us.
In the past, it's a new year.
It is. But dudes, we're here. Stranger Things has happened. The finale, and I've got a good feeling that we're pretty split. The four. I feel like this side with Megan and I are pretty aligned, and then I also feel like Chris and Thomas are gonna be pretty aligned in their views. So we are gonna spoil the life out of the finale of Stranger Things. So if you have not watched it yet, this is your chance. You can stay by all means. If you don't want to watch it and give 2 hours of your life, really all you have to do is watch the first hour anyways, and then hey, come back.
But, all right, you're starting out hot.
let's dive in. Let's start with Chris. So Chris, I want to start with all of our relationships to the show. Chris, were you from the jump, like first episode 2015 Netflix? Were you watching from the jump?
I believe so. I may have been like a couple of weeks behind, but I definitely, when it came out, I was watching it. I've watched it since the first season.
And you're pretty big fan, obviously, if you watched every season. And without spoiling first, I want to give you some spoiler-free thoughts before we dive into the spoilers. What did you think of season 5 and the finale? Was it satisfying for you?
I think the buildup to the finale was kind of lacking. It was all right. They misstepped here and there. I wasn't as big a fan of a lot of the different moves that they made. And then the finale hit. And I think the finale really, it was the only way it could end, honestly. Like no one was going to be happy. I enjoyed it. I also, I'm a Game of Thrones survivor. I was there.
Oh God. I guess if we've all lived through that fiasco, nothing can really hurt us, but.
I did How I Met Your Mother before that. So like I was let down.
Come on.
Has aged so much better.
I've also lived through Scrubs as well, but
listen, Scrubs had the greatest series finale of all time, and then they ruined it. And we're like, we bought it. ABC bought it, so we got to do it this way.
They were trying to backdoor pilot. It was weird, but
it was really bad.
We have lived through some things, to say the least, as far as that goes. So you thought it was a suitable finale send off for this, right?
I went in relatively positive because it couldn't be any worse than anything I had ever seen.
That's true. I guess
there you go. Low bar to clear.
It was a super low bar to clear.
So Thomas, going down to you. Are we first time? Right from the jump. How about you?
I was a day oneer. Like I was in LA, the billboards were going up, like you're passing LAX and all these billboards. You're like, what is this? Right. And so I get Netflix, and me and my wife, before she was my wife, she was just a Bumble date. We had started this show, and I was like, you got to watch this. It's like,
great. Now we have to get married so we can see how it ends together.
Exactly.
That's how my marriage just stayed together this whole time. I don't know about you.
Actually, yeah, good luck now that it's done. But
into TV. No, there's always other TV shows. Don't worry.
Yeah. I gotta convince her outside of reality TV right now. But okay, so I was super in. I loved season 1. I thought the horror with the kids, with this nostalgia. I'm barely a kid of the 80s. I was born in 88. So then, it's like I have this at least memory version of nostalgia for the 80s. I just like, oh man, this is great. And of course, it dipped and weaved. this season for me was not perfect. I don't think everything was a 10 out of 10, but I do think that there are moments, especially even leading up to the finale, that I was like, dang, this is like, I'm really just going to miss this. And I think that's how it ended for me. Like, I don't by any means think that this finale was perfect, but there are moments in here where I was just like, they pulled some tears out of me. They pulled some memory berries out of there, some just joy, that was really cool. And I'm going to miss these relationships. So I think overall, yeah, probably a little bit more high on it, but I also watched it for a second time today and it played even better.
It did the second time. Okay. I was kind of curious about that myself. Megan, what were your thoughts? How are you feeling? I know you messaged in the chat. You're like, I'm not spoiling anything, but I feel like you and I are going to be aligned.
Okay.
So I wasn't even like excited to get into the show originally, like 9 years ago. I only got in because I guess the people who made the show made this whole rumor going around to get more people in the show. They said all these fake claims that like when you watch it, the lights in your house go off. They made this weird thing. Like you were like,
I don't remember any of that really.
No.
Yeah, that was like, I was in Virginia when it happened. That was a big thing around Virginia, guys. Like,
oh no, doing? That's just the colonial ghosts. Don't worry.
But yeah, I was like, I mean, I want to get haunted, so I tried it, and I was like,
I want to get haunted.
Yeah, I want to try it.
That's
and
typical,
it was good.
White woman thing. I want to get haunted too. No,
you have nothing going on. You're in between seasons of the Kardashians. It's like you got to do something. So shout out to Thomas's wife.
Yeah.
Hey, we love some reality TV. I'll be honest, man. When I'm not, Traders is getting ready to come back. I love me some trash television, but yeah, I was a day one. Actually, my wife and I had also just gotten together at that point. So we've been together. Yeah, look at that. We had just. We were having 2015. We had gotten together. We also had a kid that year. So it's interesting because now my son is 10. We let him watch the show to watch the finale, but then this jerk went ahead and watched the finale without us when we were supposed to watch it together. But that's
oh dang,
that's amazing.
I had 2 kids. One's backup just in case I have to get rid of the other one. So you'll learn that lesson. But this is a show we've all kind of like grown up with in a way, even though I was 25. Personally, when it aired, I wasn't a kid at 80. I was born in 90. It still feels like a lot of my maturing, a lot of my growing up was with this show. And yeah, in the 9 years, we've only gotten 5 seasons, but overall, it's always been one of those just staples of pop culture. In a lot of ways, I feel like it kind of kicked off the 80s nostalgia at the same time that we've kind of gone through. This was kind of the first show that really dove into some 80s nostalgia. And then we got more of it, and just seeing where it has come and seeing now kids growing up and watching it, loving it. It's exciting. And I don't hate the finale like Megan does, but I thought that the first hour, excellent, but they sped run through that first hour. And then I don't really know what we were doing in the second hour necessarily. So we'll kind of dive into it.
I wish you guys were in the group chat when he was watching us the first time last night, because me and Derek were dying because he's like, okay, so the first hour's over, but everything's over. Are they just in therapy the next hour? What's going on?
I literally had no idea because we finished and we paused because, my wife and I, we had to get a refill on the drink and the snacks. We thought we had to been close, a bathroom break. And then we saw there were still 52 minutes left. And I'm like, now, wait a second. Joyce just took it was like, I married an axe murderer over here to Vecna, and we still have an hour. What are we going to do in this next hour? Which we're going to get to what they did, but I want to talk about the first hour. The first hour is glory. There was a lot of good horror elements. How was Vecna? What did you guys think about the way that Elle and Hopper and them kind of navigated? Because there was a lot of cool mind tricks going on. Megan, what was your thoughts? How was Vecna as a villain for you?
Well, Matthew, I have to say the guy, the alien, the monster who can take machine gun shots like a champ can just get pushed into
all
a
of
tooth.
His hit points into.
He can just get pushed into a tooth and then he's done.
He's not just a tooth. Look at this. That's a big tooth. That's a pretty big tooth. He was still alive.
But it's still a tooth. He was dead for 10 minutes. Then he started gurgling, doing a little thing. But then that's when Joyce came in and saved it. She saved everything for me. Because if she didn't do that, I would have been like, man, like nothing happened for me there. And I was excited. It was a lot of good action. It was a lot of good stuff that happened. But as the finale, the main fight of the whole show, what they've been building up to, I don't think It was this, and they didn't even show her getting in there, by the way.
She just kind of rolled up in
Yeah,
there.
she just showed up, and, like,
Mhm.
there was a lot of missing pieces of it, I feel like, that would've made it flow a lot better, would've made it hit harder,
Mm.
but without it, it felt sloppy, and it felt like it did not match the tone of the rest of the season.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Thomas, what are you? I see you kind of disagreeing a little bit.
I,
What's
I,
on your mind?
yeah. Again, after a rewatch, at first, I think the wire work for me was a little cheesy. It wasn't the best. Some of the CGI for me was a little spotty, but it was the entire group. Like, how are you going to make a bunch of kids who don't have powers useful to two kids that do? And I really like this element. I sent you guys a little video that Netflix put out
Yeah.
about like behind the scenes, right? And it was really cool, the concept of the story. I think rewatching it after this like hit harder, where everybody does come to the table with something that we've seen in previous seasons. So Lucas has got his slingshot. I almost said Eddie. He's not here because they're screaming Eddie when he's doing it. It's Steve and Dustin. They're stabbing with the like knives they made from season 4. And I guess they could just give Jonathan a flamethrower. Why not? Sure. But like the whole team attacking the mind flayer creature as Elle and Will are battling him psychically, I think was like a cool way to do it. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it was executed perfectly, but I love the concept of it. I'm like, wow, they really made this like team work, and I don't know. So
Like
I
a
think on
video
that
game at
note,
the end there, that did feel like a big boss fight. I had an issue because it was like I would have almost liked to have some Demogorgons in there, which I guess the
okay.
Duffers did say that Vecna wasn't expecting a sneak attack, but I thought the demos were already in this dimension strolling freely when we first saw Henry show up. So I guess I'm a little confused on that, but
Yeah,
I
one
can live.
giant miss going into the abyss with no Demogorgons, no Demodogs was a miss. And they're like, I thought there'd be more of them, and then there just wasn't. Isn't a good explanation. They're like, it's a mine,
You got,
hive mind.
wouldn't you have them like protect you? I personally feel like maybe if I was the big bad guy and I'm in some sort of extra dimensional space and time inside my mind, I would probably have my lair just kind of guarded just in case. You never know. Which he just left the door wide open. But
You
again,
always need goons.
you do, man. Like you got to
I
have
need goons.
the extra there. It is what it is. Chris, what was your thoughts on Vecna and the way it shook out there at the end with the fight?
I agree. It felt like a video game. I like that analogy a lot because it was kind of like that. You get the fight in the inside, and then you get the big fight on the outside. It felt like the natural progression to the big boss. Like you didn't just fight Ganon; you always fought like the other 3 forms of him. It felt very fitting for the end of the show. And to kind of like piggyback on that, y'all said something about them all having different jobs, right? It felt like a Final Fantasy game. Like that's what it kind of looked like at that last scene when they're fighting the Mind Flayer. I didn't mind that's the way it shook out too much. Joyce chopping him with the axe was perfect. I didn't mind them not even really having Demogorgons there. Like I didn't even think about it. I just not something that even populated in my brain, but one track mind, just kind of paying attention to the stuff that's going on. But it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like I understand that the Duffer Brothers had said, he didn't think they'd be able to get there. Well, it's hubris. The one thing that he's shown this entire time is that he's
very cocky.
Really cocky. So he really would believe that they wouldn't be able to make it. He's pretty much been able to have his way with them to that point and shown weakness here and there. But towards the end, like when he goes into the cave, it's very clear that he's getting very, very manic. And it's all reactionary because it's clear that he is, in fact, he's losing. And people who are really, really I will tell everybody, I'm kind of cocky. I don't like to lose.
I don't know. I'm very competitive.
I get really.
I wouldn't have lost.
I also wouldn't have lost. I would have murdered all them kids. I wouldn't have lost track of a girl in a coma. I would have looked at probably the only hospital in the small town to start. But
right,
yeah.
That's
I would have been like Steve, but not fake to death. I would have definitely just died at that moment.
But,
like, there's no way
I wouldn't have lost the little girl in my own mind. Like I would have known exactly where Max was. I ain't about to lose her. She's wild.
I think I'm afraid of a little girl. I live with my 7-year-old daughter who's even worse than that. So you know what?
Yeah, trust.
Oh,
yeah, my son is also very mean.
I don't. You're right. Like I can live without the Demogorgons, though. He was
Thomas, it
very
gets
much.
better.
It does.
God, I hope so.
Eventually, they can just like feed themselves, but
Eventually.
maybe they eventually get trapped inside somebody's mind, and who knows what happens. You
Graduate high
in the
school.
cave. Yeah, it's
Listen,
I do-
listen. That graduate high school thing, like that's completely legit. Everybody's like, I don't understand how she was in a coma for 2 years and graduated high school. As a high school teacher, I watched them usher through lots and lots of kids.
I was going to
while
ask that question.
I
so,
know you didn't pass a
yes.
single class.
Okay,
You
yeah.
weren't
I feel
here.
like-
No, that is like everybody's losing their minds about that. That is like one of the most legit things is that she would be able to graduate and have not gone to a single.
And it was
class.
also the 80s, so I feel like things were a lot less strict then anyways, but
Yeah, there was no child left behind. Like
But it's
that held
also-
up.
But it's also like you got to think how much school did all of those students lose? Like when the town was
did
torn into
anybody go to,
fours.
yeah,
Like
did anybody go to school there?
at
Like,
one point, they're
Yeah.
probably like, you know what, we just need to get
Boy.
rid of this class. Get them out of here because they're the problems.
it's like Harry Potter, like, hey, we need to just get them out. It's always
it's
trouble
them
finding.
three. Just get them out, dude.
To be fair, they did have the massive earthquake, so at that point they were probably also extra lenient. Like, hey, our town just experienced this massive disaster. Really wasn't your fault. It's not like you were skipping school. I don't have
and
a
they were also
problem with that
they
at
were
all.
using the school as a like a
Like
safe
recovery.
zone.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the-
yeah.
yeah. They didn't have
Right.
school that none of them should have graduated. First of all,
Right?
If we're
Listen,
playing
I'm
by
telling
that,
you, it didn't
Yeah.
matter. Somebody had to get paid. Their superintendent had to get paid that year. So 100 guaranteed 97% pass rate. You could look that
that is,
number
they're
up.
trying to get funding to fix the entire town at that. So look,
They
we
don't
still
give
managed to.
funding for school.
Oh.
What are you talking about? See,
You
that
know-
was and that was the part that messed with me the most, right? Was the military, right? Like some people didn't know there was issue. Just there was an earthquake, and all of a sudden the military shows up.
I mean, it's kind of real. I guess look at how many. I mean, this is before a time of social media, right? So, like, even with social media now, look at how fast misinformation and people just don't know what's going on. So, I didn't have a problem with that. The military strolls in, the streets crack open, and suddenly the military is there doing military things, and it's like, well, I guess that makes sense. But we're quarantined off. That's maybe some
But-
questions there, Thomas.
And,
What's
and
on
there,
your
there
mind?
would be questions.
So, like Megan and Thomas, you guys, like, what are you guys' thoughts? How do you feel about the whole military quarantining earthquake excuse?
Yeah, I thought it was an easy fix to the way that season 4 ended, and I think it was a little too nice. Like, it works in a sense because it just kind of moves us into what this season is going to be about. Those metal plates throughout the whole town. I was like, all right, I guess that's one way to do it.
It's very
but-
accurate if you've ever been on a military base that they literally just throw those down over any pothole. So
Okay, it's perfect. But I think story-wise, it just felt like a little convenient. But I did love that it's talked about with Rockin' Robin at the Squawk, and they're all just like chit-chatting, and like
Yeah.
she's now the radio person for the town. And so that part of it, the volume 1 part of it, I loved it. And then you're right, I think towards the volume 2, didn't love it as much. And then how it kind of wraps up, I think, with the military towards the finale, it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. Like, there's some moments where I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally how it would be. But then you take Sarah Connors, and she really just doesn't do.
she does a lot of
anything.
monologuing in this series. They
Not even-
had
not
no
even
reason.
So much that.
She just monologues the whole time menacingly.
Right? And I'm like, dang it, she's such a badass. I really wish I felt like there was more of a reason for her to be cast in that role, other than like she was probably one of their heroes, in movies back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
yeah.
just worked. And also in volume 1 was awesome to see a bunch of Demogorgons just ripping them apart. I thought that was sick.
That was dope. I like that
Yeah.
too. Megan, I do want to hear. All right, I know you. Like, I want to hear spoiler for like we're talking spoilers now. What issues did you? Because we've heard what worked. We liked what we talked about. We liked. What are some of the things that for you didn't exactly hit?
Well, going back to the whole quarantine thing, I think COVID taught us more than anything that when we don't know what's going on, we're all quarantined. We can't leave our homes. So it makes a lot of sense for the 80s for them to be like, just quarantine the town. We don't know. So I think
Yeah.
that made a lot more
Good
sense.
point.
But things that didn't hit, Sarah Connors. Why was she there? What
A
was
lot of
Dr. K's problem? How did she know about 11? How did she know about the blood? How did she know about her sister? How did she know all this? And why was she just hating for no reason? And then what happened to her? What happened to the army? What happened to any of them? It
The
felt like they
military
were
just
feeling-
casually leaves. They're just
they
like,
were just
all right.
in 18 months, I guess they were, we were all detaining you, but then something crazy happened and we're never going to talk about it again.
I get they're gonna sweep it under the rug, but I feel like there's some loose ends that they
Yeah.
would not have wanted to have anybody talk, and
Right.
they would have absolutely taken kids out. We've
The U.S. government wouldn't kill children.
You're right. You're right. But you are that was a big thing for me because everything wraps up. Oh, the military's grabbing them, they're all being held, and then they also just like killed a bunch of military people all throughout and have been sabotaging their vehicles. So
and a bunch of pregnant women and their
also,
base.
yeah, the pregnant women who are having babies while also hooked up to these blood, like they just
So
okay.
no one got in trouble for that?
Everybody just kind
Yeah.
of was like, let's just agree to never talk about this again.
Yeah,
And
it really feels like they were all
day.
sitting at a table together and they were like, okay, Vecna's the big bad. He's pretty cool. We need something else, though, to fill the space. It's like, I just feel like you could have done other things there, but you didn't. Like, you could have had
Vecna doing more mind games.
You could have had Eleven's sister turn against her. You
Mhm.
could have had some other kids show up. That was like, we were also experimented on. You could have done a lot, but you created a whole
Emma
government,
Corrigans could have gotten
a
more
whole
involved. too.
thing. Yeah, you could have done a lot of things, but you just didn't. And also, like, to the Duffer Brothers, I love what they've done, but why did they speak before the show came out?
Oh, yeah.
That made me so mad because you took the stakes away. They told everyone there's not going to be a big death.
They
Why
also
would you?
told us
Oh,
that Christmas would be a
I
very
didn't know
dark
that.
Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were hyping
So-
it up and also saying there wouldn't be any big deaths, which come on, man.
Oh,
Like,
Oh, well, it's funny. I mean, I was
they-
expecting a big death still, and
we
so
all
like, you-
thought this was the moment. Let's be honest. Like we all
Yeah.
like
They
to think,
knew what they were
and they-
doing.
they knew
with that
exactly. They're like,
5-second
hey
black
guys, this would be
screen.
funny to do.
Yeah.
so that's a great point. I wonder, how do you guys feel? Like, do you think he should have died there?
No,
No.
I'm okay with this is where I'm kind of torn personally. I'm okay with there not being a big death. However, I do feel as though they played it too safe because you have all of this going on. They kind of almost need to have an impact on something. Like if the worst that comes out at the end of this is Hopper loses a daughter again and Mike doesn't have his girlfriend anymore, it's like, well, I feel like there should have been more stakes, not just, hey, we introduced Eddie, this really badass character, and we killed him. He will kill people, but then they don't kill anybody of any sort of importance in the final season, when really that would have been the time, like Megan was talking about. You didn't have to have the military. You could have had Vecna playing mind games like he did with Hopper,
Could have had Eddie come back as a vampire, according
Yeah.
to D&D lore.
or
no.
that, or
Ooh,
honestly,
that'd be
like
cool.
there was no real reason to have Kali come back if all she was going to do is going to end up like dying anyways on the
Well,
floor and not
Well,
really.
can we say that was 100% because the Duffers got a whole bunch of crap for saying you made this whole arc for no reason?
Oh,
because
this
it was,
was
gonna
so
be
gratuitous.
because that was going to be a spin-off. They were seeing how it handled with the audience and it blows.
I
No
thought
one
that was like
liked
a
it.
backdoor pilot.
It,
Wasn't
Yeah,
that supposed to be
kind
like
of
the
was.
original pilot?
It was
okay,
supposed
okay.
to be another spin-off, but no one liked it.
Oh.
So then it was like, well, you made this for no reason. They're like, we had a reason, but you didn't want the reason. So I think that's why they brought Kali.
Now they're pushing their spinoff again, which all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a couple
Um,
different
So let's talk about Kali. Dang it, Derek, shut up.
Nah.
Sorry, hey, this was actually Derek's favorite person. So, unfortunately, this was his favorite character.
He is not
really excited
being
to see her come
delightful, Derek, today.
What
Yeah.
are your guys' thoughts? Chris, how do you feel about Kali returning? Because she was in that awful episode. She came back and instantly she came back and was like, suicide pact? And Elle was
Right.
like, whoa, what? And then
I
she was
think
like, suicide pact? And she really kind of bullied Elle into a suicide pact. And
Right.
then
Elle
She
didn't
just
take
friends
much
like
convincing.
those. Who needs enemies?
no, first of all, Elle was way too on board with her suicide pact. Right
She
off the
takes
get-go.
it from her dad, Hopper, who always is trying to kill
Hopper the
himself in the
whole
show.
entire final season is like, explosions?
Yeah. Like every
No,
final
Hopper
season,
died.
it's like, oh, today's my day to die.
I thought when he was looking at the the drums that I was thinking he was gonna blow some stuff up because the military was coming. He was gonna go save Elle, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he just wants to blow himself up. All right, great. No, he was edging the whole time, man. Just I go boom now. No, Hopper, no.
Pursue your dream, Pop.
Then he has the nerve to
Yeah, build
lecture
up to
Elle
it.
about suicide pacts when Hopper's over here. Anyways,
Still
Kali,
trapped with the
what
bomb.
was her? did you like having her back? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not gonna lie. Up until the point that she popped back up, I was like, "Oh, that's her from the second season." Because that one season really didn't hit for me. When I went to go back for a rewatch, I kind of skipped through it. So
Yeah,
I was kind of sold on her being kind of not the. It was more of a twist for her to not be the bad guy because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, no, don't." She's like Suicide Pact, definitely.
she's acting real suspect, and then
it was
turns out
very
she just
suspect.
was. I mean, kind of a sad story. She was abused. Like,
They're all really really sad stories. So like the way that her story arc ends, just it kind of completes the really really tragic sad circle. I wasn't like, to add on to the like nobody dying thing. It didn't really bother me. At the end of it, like I think Game of Thrones like has ingrained in us that, oh yeah, somebody, if people aren't dying, then the show's not very good, right? And going into the finale, I kept saying the same thing. Like the stakes don't seem too high. Like, why is nobody dying? And that's, when I thought about it, I was like, I guess they really don't have to. Like, you can still have all of these things.
tell a
have
good
all
story.
these
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
get to the very end, and like, it's an homage to 80s films. All those 80s films always kind of, everybody kind of rides off into the sunset in a very particular kind of way.
There goes my
I'm
hero
sure
Arnold.
Phoenix in pretty much any role he played. Never ended well for him. But yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
They could. I mean, it made sense to me.
totally. Yeah, I gotta.
Thomas, what are you thinking over there?
No, I gotta agree with Megan. I think that it really was just to save their ass, so that it made sense why she was there in season 2. It was just to justify that. I don't think she really added too much to the story. It was cool to see those powers come back. I think the way that she was able to make those mirages and stuff was actually really cool.
I will agree.
Yeah, and it kind of works out with the kids when they finally go into Vecna's mind and they're kind of, disappearing, and he's exposing himself as Vecna and not Henry Creel. I thought that was really cool. But other than that, I don't think she added much to the story. But I also don't think it's the actor's fault. I think she had a lot there, but from that second season episode, they made her despicable. Like, she's just killing people. She's like off, it was just like, how can you even root for her and what she's trying to, teach Elle in this moment? And so I think it also, like, it kind of aligns you more on Hop's side, which I didn't need to be more sold on Hop's side, but also I didn't think about how much he was just trying to off himself for like 4 episodes.
I can't do this anymore.
Pretty much the whole show.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. And as you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm cracking up now.
Drink himself to death, too. It's no big deal.
But
Like, everyone's saying we should apologize to Kali, but like, don't make me so suspicious of you. I still think you have an attitude. I'm not apologizing to you.
She went from killing everybody to killing herself, and it's like, no, what?
She just was bloodthirsty. Like, her first thing was, oh my gosh, 11, my sister, die. That was it. There's no in between.
We kill our brother and then ourselves. It's like,
when she said, when she
Like,
said, I'll help you kill our
he's
brother.
the problem, and everything will be fine. You can mirage the military's gonna forget about all this anyways. So like,
As soon as they find oil somewhere, we're good.
I'm gonna go ahead and mirage, and we're coming up on what, 90s? Yeah, the Gulf War. You don't know what that is yet, but I saw in the future. We're gonna go make up some things. So, I think that's my biggest problem with the way her and Elle's story ended. Right, is the tragedy and the abuse that they all suffered. That I feel like I know not everybody has a happy ending, but the amount of things that they went through, they were building up Elle to be able to make her own choice and realize that she doesn't have to go away and she doesn't have to die. And so for her to ultimately end up in Iceland alone, which I don't think is actually even her, because as I pointed out in our group chat yesterday, nobody hikes without a bra on if you're a girl. Like, I'm sorry, but like, hey, that's just uncomfortable. All right, take it from a formerly also still kind of fat man. Like, I'd be
as the woman here, I can stop him. So as the woman here, he's 100% right. This was written by a man, and it shows.
Yeah, it's just
I was stressed watching it. I was like, girl, no, please.
They don't have to, but they didn't have to like end both their stories there. They found family, and they could have ended their stories with like, hey, maybe she tricks the military into thinking they died, but they didn't actually die, and they can live a nice life in Montaka or whatever they go to live, and that kind of stuff. Whereas instead, again, Mike and Hopper has to lose his daughter again, and then Elle is just off by herself in Iceland, and it's like, for what? You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
for another show. Like they could very easily come back in 10 years.
Oh,
That's
I
the
mean,
way
they have
it
been
makes
pushing
sense.
the spinoff where they're going to explain the origins of The Rock, which
Yeah.
The Rock started in WWF. It was a whole thing, guys.
Right.
He was very badly CGI'd into Scorpion. Oh, we're talking about different Rock.
Yeah.
I don't need the origin story behind the stone. I don't. But so that them being like, guys, get ready. The spinoff, it's going to be about the stone.
Someone will
It's-
still cast
Yeah.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson in that spinoff, though.
Oh,
about
100%
Stranger
sure.
Things Rock.
They put his
I'm here
face
for it.
on The Rock.
That'd be amazing.
Honest.
Yeah.
They did it for The Rock.
I mean, it's not. I also feel like though it's not the Duffers though. It's Netflix, right? It's like Netflix.
100%.
Money.
And you know what I do love about Stranger Things as a whole is like there's so how many mythologies do we have outside of comic books where it is like American mythology, right? And this is so much, there's so much Americana in here and there's so much positivity. We've obviously glossed over the whole military issue of this show, but it's like, it's just cool to see kids in this time doing and going on these epic adventures and monsters and other worlds. And like, I think that aspect of it is super cool. I don't think the Duffer Brothers would want to do more spinoffs because they don't. They already have started like doing their own shows outside of Netflix. I think a movie actually, but I think that, you know, but it's the money, right? And it's like, once you got that IP, let's drain this thing. But so I'm not even blaming them, but I also feel like there's an aspect to Elle leaving that was kind of cool for me, where it's like,
There she is.
because of the story.
Just
there she
off
is
on her own. Just 2 waterfalls. She went, you know, she didn't
3 waterfalls.
Well, unfortunately, like the wise poet said, don't go chasing waterfalls.
There you go.
That was after her time. Like Elle was a little bit ahead of that time, so I guess she didn't learn anything.
It might have been written somewhere though. You know, they
It's
might have had
true.
it in a notebook. But I think I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's a choose your own adventure on the ending, and you know, maybe she did it to save her friends. Maybe she did it because nobody would really understand her. Maybe she was just going on a trip to figure out her own self. And something
fair,
about that, I
sure.
think, is a little beautiful to me. But what I think the best part about that is the monologue. And I don't know if we want to jump this far ahead, but that monologue at the end, I'm telling you, I shouldn't be admitting this on the internet, but that got me. I was like tearing up seeing them say like, I believe it. It got me.
Well, okay, let's talk about that second hour then, because we go 18 months in the future, man. You know, Nancy went from John Rambo to now she dropped out of college and, you know, all that other stuff. And she's kind of, here we got them on this right here. Steve, teacher and coach, very fitting. Jonathan's like a videographer. He's got weird shoulder pads in his suit jacket. It's very weird.
But so pompous too.
it
Like
is.
pompous
It's
movie
so-
kid is great.
It is. And then of course, you know, Robin, did they ever actually say what happened to Vicky? Because Vicky just disappeared.
No,
Murray
that was
just
another
kinda-
loose end.
we did get Murray. Like I forgot Murray was briefly there with the
Oh, he was.
principal.
Were
But
they together? Because
I don't know.
I
don't
wanted to
think
ask
so, but-
someone, but no one else brought it up. So I was like, okay, Megan, you're overthinking it. But they were like, they had a really cute chemistry when they were working together that one episode.
Yeah,
like,
because my big thing was, hey, the Erica and the teacher, like they just kind of disappeared after helping them figure out what's going on. And then Murray, you know, actually saves her life. That psychopath Murray, he's like my favorite character in the show. There we go. See, he's just over here, like he's throwing grenades into helicopters and saving lives. And then he just doesn't get any sort of closure, I guess, with his character. And then Vicky just disappears after helping hide Max. And so it's what happened to these guys, which I get they weren't maybe the core, but Murray was absolutely a core character. Like Murray saved the day from the season 3 would he start in season 3 or season 2? I can't remember.
3.
It was 3.
Pretty sure
Okay.
it was 3.
See, yeah, 3 he got hopped back from Russia. Season 4, he was like a driving factor as well, you know, with there season 3 and 4, he's decoding everything. And in season 5, the dude was, you know, smuggling stuff in for them and was absolutely like that guy. So I feel they kind of
Maybe it was season
disrespected him,
2.
but everybody at the end of the day got a happy ending because we are going to. Oh, okay. See, we are going to get new merch though, because we got Hellfire Lives. I've already seen Netflix
True.
putting that out there. I
Sick.
didn't mind
I
that
want
scene
it.
except for the fact that Dustin, Susie, we don't know what happened. Like, did they ever mention, did Dustin and Susie break up, or did they just casually forget her too?
I
'Cause
mean,
Yep.
it was
What
the
happened
80s
there?
and they were like dating in high school. It's plausible.
I
that
understand
From summer
but, like,
camp.
He just cut that thing off.
But I think there were
Well,
scenes
she-
with them that were cut because we did hear that Netflix cut a whole bunch. She was at the
Ooh.
premiere. Like she put it out, made it look like she was in the show.
Yeah.
The way she was acting.
she saved their asses in season 4. You know, I mean, I
we
get
got a
Argyle not
sweet-
being in it.
A sweet musical number from them.
Mhm.
I would have liked that again.
Yeah, Dusty Buns, and you know oh my god, the never-ending story. And
I know.
so like to not have her mentioned at all was kind of weird. Like even a footnote of we broke up, and then you know
Yeah.
the girl asked them to go to the party, and Mike's sulking. He's like, "Nah, we're just gonna go play D&D." I'm sorry, Mike. Just because you're sad that you don't have a girl anymore, Dustin's about to go get some tail because like that man went from getting beat up at the graveyard, and they casually forgot about that whole thing. Like they dropped that storyline in a heartbeat as well.
See,
It's weird.
That pissed me off because Nancy told Dustin when she took up for him at that prom, she's like, she'll be begging for you later. She'll be asking for you. They glossed over that completely. So insufferable Mike can go make up the rules again. Wait, you're gonna go play D&D? He finally got invited to this party.
Yeah.
Let the boy get some. What are you doing?
I'm telling you, man, the dude had to go through hell. Like, let the man get.
So as
Come on.
somebody who in high school was the guy that actually left and didn't go to parties so that I could just play games with my friends, it worked for me. Like I was that kid. I'd have friends that be like, dude, you know, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have, growing up in Hawaii, everybody go to the beach, there would be bonfires. People be like,
Oh, yeah.
are you going to come? And I would leave. I'd go play Smash Brothers with my friends, like my other friends, my nerdy friends.
My
And
parties
like,
were actually drinking and playing video games like that. So I guess that
okay,
was
yeah.
mine too. in a way.
I was like a closeted nerd for most of my life. And so that scene kind of spoke to me where I'm like, yes, the people who really know you, who really get you, there's no doubt. I think that this story had so many loose ends. And I think that's the thing for me on the rewatch. It almost doesn't matter because the people that I grew to love over these last 10 years, like I do want to see how they carry on. And I think that's what that epilogue is. It's not tight. It's not perfectly exciting, but it does kind of give you this catharsis, at least for me. And that last D&D game, especially as he walks up the stairs and he looks down at the next generation, his siblings and the friends being so engaged in this story after Lucas is like, a basketball star and Max is like a skater kid who could care less about
Dude, Lucas
parties.
and Max, those two ended up the best scenario out of all of them. Like they were there for each other, and like down for each other. She's playing D&D. Like they got their relationships rock
It's
solid.
solid. Yeah.
I will say it was
think Will-
weird. It was weird when Lucas was like, "You look sexy." I'm like, "Oh, we just
I
saw
know.
her."
It's
It's
so
like,
weird 'cause I was like, first of all, I feel like they're still children. So hearing these
yeah, I was like, "Well, stop it."
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
But
felt
I
that
like
Purple
Will.
Rain. Sorry, go ahead, Thomas. I'll get to my Purple Rain bit in a minute.
Yeah.
Please, let's talk about that. But I think that catharsis at the end of like, there's one last game we have. There's one last time we're all kids together, and like, there's gonna be a lifetime of parties. There's gonna be a lifetime of striking out with girls or striking out with boys. It's just like let's just have this one game all together. And I think the older kids got that. I think the younger kids got that, and I think Hopper and I almost just want to call her Winona.
Joyce,
forgot her
yeah,
name.
Joyce,
Joyce.
Hopper, they end up getting engaged and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody kind of gets this one last send off of like, this is who we were at this moment in this place. And that's
a
okay.
good way. I loved. Okay, so I did love the end scene where they're talking there. The biggest lie is this scene right here, though. I got to point out this.
yeah.
Because
Sure.
They made a pact. We're going to meet up once a month, halfway. Now, let's talk about how they're halfway. So they are thinking. So Nancy here, Massachusetts. Jonathan here, New York. They're going to Philadelphia. I don't know if they've looked at a map, but these two going once a month to Philadelphia from Indiana is certainly not halfway. And also, as an adult, once a month, you're okay. They never saw each other again, guaranteed.
It's idealistic. Like I can actually speak to that because I grew up in a small town. My small town had like, I think at its maximum 18,000 people. My best friend is the kid that I met on the first day of kindergarten. Like
Wow.
to this day. So like there were core groups of us that that was exactly like that. So growing up, there were 4 of us. The picture of us from graduation day is on my wall, and 2 of us still talk. like regularly. We still communicate here and there, and we always make those plans. Anytime we're together, we're like, yeah, we're gonna make this work. This is what we're gonna do, and then none of us get in the group chat and talk for like 2 years until somebody comes home. And so, like, you always make those plans, and that whole scene to me was the most realistic at that whole sequence, right? It's almost watching the stages of growing up and having like lived through that and done exactly like that. Like high school, I spent playing video games and eating sour bright crawlers and drinking
Mountain
old Mountain
Code
Dew
Red?
Amp. No, Amp, man. When the energy drinks first came out, I was all about the Amp.
I do
Oh,
remember
that's when they
Ants.
had
Oh,
Vault
God.
too.
Yeah, Joe
yeah.
Coy before then, Surge, and all that.
We're having a small town.
My arteries.
Yeah, seriously. Yes, Derek, UK, you win on small towns. Yours is the
He
smallest.
actually lives in Indiana. See, you know.
He wins. He
Yours
wins.
is the smallest.
But like, so it made sense to me because I've done all that before. I've been there, and it's kind of like Thomas said earlier. We've watched these kids grow up, and so the next day was kind of like sad. It was like my kid grew up and graduated and left the house, and so like I was just trying to make my way through that because like I understand what comes next, and I know how much that sucks. Right. If you look at life like chapters, every life you've lived is a different chapter. So through high school and then through college and then through the 30s. My 30s are not the same as my 20s. Not even
Mine is not
even close.
I couldn't even my early 20s right out of high school in, my up until 25, unrecognizable as a person. So that is something to be said.
I had a lot more fingers in my 20s.
Hey,
You know, like
Oh my
things
God.
change.
That's something. That's something.
I also had an eye in my. I also had 2 eyes in my 20s. So
See? Yeah.
Oh
You know, the
my
body
God.
breaks down sometimes.
it's true.
Amazing.
Nothing for that. Like,
Anyways, I do want to. We talked about Lucas and Max, how we were feeling uncomfortable. I wanted to say that Purple Rain sequence with Will, or not Will, God dang it, Mike and Elle. I felt like I was interrupting something with Purple Rain, and they're having their sweet. I was like, whoa, sorry.
That was sexy music. What were we doing?
They were. That was just baby making
with
music. I'm
children.
sorry. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
And then
It was a great song choice, though. I like, yes, it was weird, but also like, I was like, dang, this is a good choice.
Right.
I didn't realize the Prince soundtrack was to the bomb. I didn't realize that because I got so caught up in Prince. You didn't catch that, Carrie?
I didn't
caught
catch that.
Carrie was, the fact that the soundtrack, the record was
the Prince
timer to the
record.
bomb. The Prince record was playing. And then when it stopped, it blew up.
I didn't catch that at all. That just blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Oh, I just went, oh, it's Prince.
Yeah, my head, I'm over here like, all right, Prince, sweet. And then she goes, that's the timer to the bomb. And I was like, what? Because we got back-to-back Prince songs. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Somehow she caught that and she was enjoying beverages. I was very impressed. Like, hey, okay,
Right.
you still were paying attention. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then just off the rails from there. But yeah, it's just was such a
Underrated
good-
aspect too of this finale was the score. Like, I don't know if you guys are
Yeah.
really paying attention to that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the final battle with Vecna, it gives you that Darth Vader vibe. Like,
Yep.
there is some amazing music being played throughout this, whether the action worked for you, the CGI worked or not. Like, the score and the soundtrack absolutely crushed. And shout out to Strahd Goofy. Love that guy. He pointed out that the song when they're playing D&D in the first season was called Kids. The next time they played it, I think it was in season 3, it was called Teens. And Spotify is about to release a new soundtrack to this. He's either
Ooh.
thinking it'll say adults or it'll say kids again because the next generation took over D&D. So I think it's
that's
it's
actually
like, and they're all slightly changed just a little bit. Like, he pointed it out and I was like, damn, that's really cool. So the detail in there, like, we did a John Williams month on one of my podcasts. So like, I'm super into scores and I'm like, man, they crushed it on this one.
Scores make it, man. It drives that energy. The way that you use music, you're exactly right. The score really made that. The use of the different tracks, like Prince for the timer, was wonderful. I pretty much don't remember anything that happened from between the time the trooper started and to the time that the trooper ended. I love that song.
Yeah.
Well, they're all
Pirate
just
Maiden all
riding
day.
there. Derek starts waving at Max because they're or not Max, Mike, because they're best friends now. And then Derek
Don't
ends
even know
up
what you're
playing
talking
D&D. Like, yeah. So they're riding back. So it's the songs going. They're all chilling. Derek starts waving very funnily to Mike.
Oh.
Like, hi. And then it turns out that
I took that in
Derek's-
a very different way.
well, no,
Did-
that was put
was-
because they're best friends. Remember, Derek was telling Max when he first saw it, like, yeah, Mike, we're basically
Oh,
best
that's
friends.
right. I thought I took it a different way because I was like, you know, Derek quick to tell anyone that looks at him wrong to suck a fat one. But like with Mike, he's like, hi, Mike. I love you.
That's like his. Well, it's because it's going to be his future brother-in-law. He was sitting next to Holly at graduation, and then he's playing D&D in the basement. But did you
not
to mention they
at the
casually did
graduation?
not.
I put in that
first of all,
kind of
she had
work,
red
Derek. It
hair.
doesn't pay off. Let me tell you, buddy.
Well, Derek also doesn't have a family anymore because they just kind of forgot his family in the barn. But
So
Yeah.
put him in the barn. Yeah.
Starved to death.
whatever
Yeah,
happened to them,
murdered
I have
people.
no idea. But
They're still tied up.
they're is anybody coming? Help! And they just go into that barn 18 months later, and they're just decaying. But anyway, Megan, as you were saying,
Well,
Sorry,
first of all, Holly, if you saw her at the graduation, she takes after Max a lot. She looks
Mhm.
so annoyed at Derek's existence, which is like, that's fair. But then she also came in with red hair, and it's like, so if they do have a spinoff, is she the new Max? Because I
Oh,
would
might
take it that
be.
she would be the storyteller.
That'd be cool.
But that's where, because they're saying that it has nothing to do with these characters.
Yeah,
Like,
okay. They saw
I also
Delightful
feel like
Derek.
they are going to bring
yeah.
this D&D group back somehow because they did set it up to leave it open-ended to, if they wanted to,
Oh,
have
definitely.
the kids back as adults and then these next generations of kids, because everybody loved Derek, for example, so much.
Yeah.
Yep. They
It's
could have
wide
them as
open.
teenagers.
5 years.
Well,
Give
they
it 5
left,
years.
they left the favorite in Hawkins, and he made such a big deal that he's never leaving Hawkins, which is Steve. They just cemented that we're going to see Steve again. There's no way we don't. They can say, oh, it's not going to take place with these characters or in Hawkins. Don't lie to me. Okay. I know you're lying because there's no way they saw the love that the fandom gave dipshit Derek into Delightful Derek. And they're like, we got to have this kid back. This kid is money. Also, shout out to the actor who told all of his friends that he wasn't working on Stranger Things. It was a mayonnaise
Well,
documentary.
I was about to bring up, I was about
Yeah.
to say, if they were smart, or not even smart, what I would do right now if I was Netflix or anybody is I would get him in to film like a retro mayonnaise commercial
100%.
that like ties into Stranger Things somehow. I feel like that would be
That's
hilarious
amazing.
just
I
to
didn't know
put
that.
like a
Yeah.
30-second mayonnaise commercial out there. Yeah,
Right.
he wasn't allowed to tell anybody. He was talking, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. And
Mhm.
he said he was filming a mayonnaise commercial, and so that they should do something. Some
No,
sort
it
of
was like a
commercial.
whole
Dukes should hit
documentary
him up or whatever.
about mayonnaise. But like, if you
Yeah.
meet the kid, what are you going to say? No, you're not. Because he's
Right.
thinking that kind of off the wall. That's like, you know what? We'll see it when it comes out.
He looks like the
You're
type
telling
of
your
kid that would
kid you're
shoot a
filming a
mayonnaise
mayonnaise
documentary.
documentary, and you're like, all right. Anyways, this kid's crazy, and then you see your student on Stranger Things. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Huh?
I know, it'd blow your mind. I mean, what a legend. This season, for that alone, I give it like one bump up because Derek
Agreed.
was incredible. All of his suck a fat one and like, I'm too tired. And all of that stuff was freaking hilarious. That kid is a rock star.
Had his own
Like-
cult there in the little bunkers. He's over there slapping him on the head with the ruler and stuff. Derek would completely commanded this from the get-go.
Yeah. And like that's one thing I give this show credit for. I also, you know, obviously there's a lot of controversy around Harry Potter, but if we look at the movies when they first came out, aside from the creator, just the kids, right? They were so incredible. Like they're such incredible actors. And then as they aged, they also became better actors. And I feel the same way about this group. It's like, who'd have thought when these kids were 10 years old that they could be commanding a stage like they are now?
Yeah.
And like, say what you want about Dustin. He was like this kid who had these funny teeth. And now seeing that, you know, flipping the
He
bird to
got
the
like the
principal.
confidence and stuff like that, man.
Swag.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like the emotional arc he had with Steve was like, damn, this kid, he's just evolved, and they all have evolved. Like there were certain moments in this where I was like, is Mike as good of an actor as I think he is? Like, is Finn Wolfhard that good? I kind of dipped and weaved on him. But like Will, I was like, man, Will is strong. Caleb is strong. Gatton is strong. Obviously, Max. We're getting Sadie Sink in so many things. I'm like,
Sadie Sink's got that Marvel money coming soon now, you know?
Yes, she does.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Honestly,
she deserves
though,
it.
if
Like, she's a
You're
badass.
talking Finn Wolfhard. He's done a bunch of indie projects that are horror
He's
based
in
that
a
I've
band
watched.
too.
He's in a
Mhm.
band. So is Steve, actually.
Well, they're all
And-
I love
musically
Joe.
trained.
It's
But-
so good.
Well, they're all musically trained. Like Gatton is classically trained with Lucas.
Oh, that's
They're both-
right. That's right.
Yeah, they all came from a musical background.
Which is cool. But Finn Wolfhard is actually, as I saw today, he has signed back on with
Yeah.
Muschietti. He's going to be back in the It franchise.
Ooh.
So whatever that means. So he's back to where I
He's
personally
doing
like him
fine.
a lot. I do. He's going to be fine. I personally like him a lot too.
yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown, she's got, the Netflix she did.
It's all going to be
Enola
Netflix from
Holmes.
here for Millie.
Yeah,
Bon Jovi
but you're
now.
right. Like they have really
That-
kind of evolved, and you kind of see like child actors. They might not always evolve, but I do think these kids have really grown. And I would love to see, his Joe Carey, who plays Steve Harrington. I want to see him in more things. Maya Hawke. I mean, her name alone, she's going to be out there. So
Joe Carey, I believe he wants to focus on his music career, which is taking off like
he can sing really well. Like,
crazy right now.
I have seen
Yeah.
some videos, and I'm like, I would love to catch that show. To be honest with you.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
his music is so catchy. It's
Mhm.
so good.
Mhm.
With the kids and everything, and seeing them go on and do other things. And I think the Dustin character is the best character from the show. Like,
Oh,
I
hands
think
down. Him and Steve, my two
as far as
favorites.
a full-on story arc, best character in the show.
100%.
But it's nice to see kids that are going on in their career, because if this show was shot 30 years ago, we'd all be talking about which one of them had a different drug addiction. And I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
growth from that
Or like
to
whose
now
parents were
and
stealing their
watching-
money, that kind of stuff, like
Yep.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yep. To see what happened to kids then, to see what's happening to these kids now is so different. And like I was born in 1985. I remember all of Macaulay Culkin. I remember a lot of the kids who struggled. And so it's nice to see that they're moving on in their career, and they've been kind of taken care of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, what I think makes a huge difference is that back then, like 20, 30 years ago, these child actors were all pitted against each other to
Mhm.
beat
Yep.
each other. But now there's something changed in Hollywood, which long time coming, it should have already happened, that these actors are allowed to be friends now. Because I don't know if you guys knew, but like Nickelodeon and Disney kids were not allowed to
Yeah, they couldn't
hang out
be
with each other.
friends at
They were
all.
not, it was in contracts. They could not talk
Yeah.
to each other. But
Yeah.
now it's like you have Noah and Millie. Noah, you see them out together, just him and her daughter with her. And
I
no
think
one else.
I think he's her godfather. I
Yeah.
think he's actually
Yeah,
like
I
the
knew they were,
godfather
like,
of her
best
kid. It's
friends,
just crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all, and I just saw a picture of who was it? Mike and Steve walking down Hollywood, or maybe it was Paris, just holding
They're
hands
hanging
and
out
pretending they're
together.
tourists. Like these people are actually good friends, and I think that's so
Right.
needed. So
Yeah.
we see
Yeah.
them grow up from such a young age, but we've also seen them grow together. We got to see that from the outside.
And they kept their friendships. Well, I mean, Nancy and Jonathan in real life have been
They were
couple
dating a
for-
long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've
Season
been
one.
dating since the get-go. So like
Are
they're
they
real
still
life-
dating?
as far as I
Yeah.
know, they're still together. Yeah.
Oh, I wish he died in the show.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Oh, they're still together in real life? Yeah, he should have died there.
Yeah, that would have been.
Well,
which is
there
like-
just hasn't been a good lull for me to put that in there. But so just so
Okay,
you guys
so
know.
actually, that brings up a good point because I wanted to ask this question. If you could pick any of the main characters to die, who would it have been and why? So Megan, yours was Jonathan, I guess, right?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
He's just a stale ham sandwich of a character. And he's like, he didn't add anything to the season, but just whining. Like the world is falling apart. Everyone is dying, my guy. But yeah, go plan a proposal to someone you're not even
Yeah,
with. They
but-
weren't together.
They were, but
They
there was
weren't.
falling
And this
apart.
season they weren't. Duffers said they weren't.
Okay, well, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's kind of in character though. Like he's
Yeah, because that's
18-year-old dude who like is lovesick. Yeah, he did. He could
Yeah.
die tomorrow.
but is it lovesick or is it more I can't do anything on my own
like the
because I don't
first
have
girl
enough
who ever paid attention
Yeah.
to him.
And I
okay?
think that's the reason they break up, though. I think you're right. I mean, I think he realizes that she is his crutch. And
Yeah.
she was the girl that he was never supposed to get. And she was with the popular guy, Steve. And, you know, it didn't work with Steve. And like, I have this shot with somebody who's just way better than me, which is like why I kind of love that conversation. After Jonathan saves Steve, he's like, hey, you know, I know it wasn't ever going to work out with me. And he's like, yeah, it didn't work out with me and her either, because she's independent. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like that was like a cool conversation. It needed to be said, because he's like, I don't like you. And he's like, I don't like you either. And you're like, all right, like, is
And they
what
like
I'm
became
feeling.
friends after, which I liked, because finally
Such a
Jonathan
guy
kind of
thing to
heard that.
do.
Totally.
Such
it
a
is.
dude thing to do in a movie, like, or in real. I don't know. I'm not a guy, but
No,
they're
in
like,
real
oh,
life,
he's
they
not a
would
threat.
literally beat the
It
crap out of
happens.
each other, and then the next day would be friends again. Like,
Yeah,
that's
they're
just-
like, oh,
you
he's
do
not
that
a threat.
yourself.
We're cool. I still hate him though, but we're cool.
No, and I don't disagree. I think he should have died for sure, because there was the catharsis of we're not going to be together, and we can finally be ourselves without holding on to each other. And I think that is a great story to tell for young adults, where it's like you're so lovesick, you have this person, you think they're your whole world, and then it's maybe not good for you, but you're too scared to say we should break up. So you do a million things that are just wrong or problematic instead of just calling it quits. And so showing somebody like call it quits, and like they're still friends, they're still able to be civil to each other, they're still able to support each other. Like that's a good message. So I think I'm okay with it. But I also, controversial, think that Steve should have died. I think it would have been enough of a gut punch to where it would have been like, holy crap, anybody can die. And like, dang, his arc was finished in my mind. Like when you look at like his whole story from season 1 to being the bully to where he is now, and now he's, you know, the dad, he's the everybody loves him, you know,
The hardworking single mom. Yeah.
who works their jobs. Exactly. Like
Do the Reba theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could have went away, but I do also love Coach Steve, Coach and Teacher Steve.
He was built to be a dad. Okay, just don't call him Nuggets.
Right?
So so I'm glad you said this, and I'm gonna get to Chris in a second, but this makes my person who I think should have died for similar reasons, and it's Will. I think Will should have died, because not because he's my least favorite character, because his acting sucks. Sorry, like I just
Agreed.
anytime it was on screen, I got really tired of him touching the back of his neck. I'm gonna be honest, like that just drove me nuts.
That was the thing they did. It was a character
So,
choice.
like, I know, but I feel like his arc came to the point where he freed himself from that secret and that fear, and he found that acceptance and that love with his friends, that it almost felt like him going all out in this. Like if they had done the final fight to where Elle and whatnot, maybe Will steps in with his powers, sacrifices himself to cut off the hive mind, killing the mind flayer, killing Vecna, and thus he kind of sacrifices himself in the same way. That's the only reason why I kind of would have been like, hey, that makes sense for Will to die, because then he is now the one who stepped up from being scared to being this hero of the group. So that's why I kind of would have picked him. Other than that, it probably would have been, I mean, Jonathan and Nancy, I think they should have died as the thing was melting. That would have made a really insane. One of them should have at least died.
Imagine the public outrage that Will just came out to the world, to his family.
That's why I was like contemplating not
Kill
saying
off
it. 'Cause
the
I was
gay
like,
guy.
this is not why I think he should die. First and foremost,
I know, but like, can you
such
imagine?
a whole time, like, it would have been such a shitstorm. I understand it, but from you know, Chris,
From a character perspective.
from a character, if you're writing a character and you really want to hit, like his would have been this heroic, you know, he's spent this whole time feeling not a part of the group. He found the acceptance again because he was afraid of himself and what his secrets. He found that he loved himself, and then he ultimately, this whole story's arc was, Mom, I got this, you don't have to baby me. And then so he steps up and becomes that hero. I just feel like that would have been a badass moment. You wouldn't even necessarily had to have killed him, but either way, Chris.
I agree. Oh, from a purely story perspective,
I think Nancy would have been a good one.
I
like
think it
that.
would have.
Yeah.
I think from a story perspective, if they would have been real hard to kill Mike. I think honestly, my answer is Steve, just so I could see what the internet looked like on January 1st. Like just the whole of it crashing out. Steve would have made the most. Honestly, I'm going to go with Steve because Steve would make the most sense. right?
He would have him
it's not even
sacrificing himself for
necessarily
Dustin or something.
that his story arc was done, because I feel like they did a good job of completing it. And just for I will die on the hill that Steve is the one that makes the most sense as a teacher. Like, yeah, if you've ever met a male teacher, we were all
It's
the
in front of
Steve.
us.
Yeah.
We were all the Steve for the most part. At least a good wealth of us. But it would have made sense. But also that's why they used him as like the tease. Like, he thought he was going to die, and that's why they chose that character, because with nobody else you wouldn't have got that reaction. So you almost kill him, and then you pull it back. I feel like it's got a better effect than if they would have killed him there, right? Because how many people would you have lost in that scene that would have just whined for the next hour and a half, and not even paid attention to anything else that they did?
Well, I think Steve dying would have had much more of an impact in the show rather than outside the show because of Dustin. Dustin was mourning Eddie this whole time. And then if we lost Steve too, what would that have done to him? And like,
Dustin would have ended up on some serious meth. That dude would have a massive drug addiction.
That is such a strange thing to jump to. I would never lose anything.
Was not a thing in the 80s. Okay, what would it have done? Well, he lost his two best friends, so probably
heroin.
Nothing good. It was
heroin.
You're a teacher.
You weren't allowed.
Listen, hey, I know. I listen.
You lived through the 90s.
It's not a thing in the
heroin. That's how it goes.
I will say, like, going back to what one person said, Nancy would have been interesting.
Clayton and
like it would have,
Nancy. Yes,
it would have destroyed both Steve and Jonathan. It would have destroyed everyone. But then that team would not have survived without Nancy. I don't care what anyone says.
No, Nancy.
She had the balls of her. She gets it from her mom. They have the balls of 1,000 men.
That's who should have died. Ted Wheeler should have died because
Ted Wheeler should have died.
Wheeler is too much of a baddie to be putting up with that.
I was really surprised they were sitting together at the graduation. I'll say that.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, oh my gosh. And agreed, Chris, Nancy was a linchpin to it all. Agreed. And then, Dustin would have destroyed the internet if he died, probably. Mm-hmm. And you don't always have to just kill a character for that gut punch feeling. But were
after Eddie,
that it absolutely makes.
But after Eddie, I feel like we deserved another death that kind of like was like, okay, we can move on from Eddie now. Because I'm not moved on until the very last moment. I was like, Eddie will show up, guys. He's coming.
It would have, in a D&D sense, made sense. So is Eddie the person you would have liked to have seen one more time? Because we obviously got Kali. So if we're bringing back a character from any season, yours would have been Eddie. What about for you guys? Who would have you, Eddie as well?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been. I mean, he was so good, so iconic in that role. But like, there is a small part of me that just wants to like throw a curveball in there and say Barbara, like from season 1, and like somehow
nobody actually liked Barb, right? Like
I know, but like
pretended they liked Barb, but they didn't actually.
100%. But some part of me would have been like,
she was professionally cock blocking her best friend, like her whole arc was cock blocking Nancy.
She really was. And she's had like 5 seconds of screen time in season 1, and people are still like Barb.
No,
but they put her
just for Barb.
But just because of the outrage, they put her in the credits with her own little cartoon. And there's a part of me that was like, yes, like, okay, there's fan service that's done just because you want to serve the fans, whatever. And then there's fan service that like feels like, man, thank you for that. And Kali feels like fan service that they just did because they wanted to kind of correct.
Here you go, nerds. Shut up, internet.
But then, Barb would have been like, what? Are you serious? I don't know. There was a part of me that just for fun.
Well, Barb was she's such a non-issue, but they keep trying to make Barb happen. Because I remember when they were filming the 5th season, there was like breaking news. It was either Variety or Deadline that said, breaking, Barb's body is coming back in Stranger Things 5. I was like,
kind of did.
I looked at my phone for like 5 good seconds. I was like,
her body? What does this
her
mean?
dead body. I was like, what are we doing here? What?
Yeah. She did get a flashback though.
She did get the flashback, shout out to the flashback. She was stop trying to make stop trying to make Barb happen. Chris, who is your character? Because I do want to pitch an idea that I think would have been awesome in a second.
Oh, definitely Bob.
Yeah, I was like, Bob would be mine. Yes,
of course, it's got to be Bob. I liked Bob.
Bob
And
was so
then you
cool,
get like
yeah.
the
Too
love
good for
triangle
all of
between
them.
Bob, Hopper, and Joyce. I'm here for that spinoff.
Bob should have ended up with Karen Wheeler, man. That would have been a real man right there. All right.
Right? No,
Ted Wheeler would be dead in the hospital. Bob swoops in. I'm just saying.
You know who would have been
we don't get the
interesting?
sitcom. We
Papa.
get the sitcom
Oh.
with Joyce and Bob and Hopper.
Oh yeah, like a Three's
here for
Company
that.
type, or like those Kevin James awful comedies on my King of
Everything?
Queens or whatever
King
it was.
Queens,
Yeah, on it,
yeah.
yeah. So speaking of like dead bodies coming back, I would have loved if they leaned into Vecna's powers more, where he was like miraging everybody, because how twisted would it have been if he toyed with them. We saw Hopper's daughter come back, but we get Bob, we get Barb, like these characters from their past kind of brought back in those ways to mess with their minds. Like that could have been cool. I feel like
That would have been good.
they just kind of wanted to rush past the final fight of the villain to get to the epilogue. And it's like, well, you had all this time. Like you could, I don't know. So I feel like that would have been awesome, because it kind of leaned into the horror things there with Hopper a little bit, and then quickly it was over. So, and Ted fought a Demogorgon, and did he win? Did Ted win? Because Ted got forgotten about in the hospital. And
Ted did not. Ted did not win.
At all.
We
It's his
saw
mom's dad.
how
Oh,
we saw
dad?
how
Who?
trash his golf swing was outside when he was angry. Then he came in and hit the Demogorgon, got humbled real quick, and then the next time
He didn't
we
really-
saw
he
him,
didn't win against that Demogorgon. He got
no,
thrown to
next
the
time we
side.
saw him
Yes.
or heard about him, his own children didn't care. With the graduation, the
No,
world
it
already
was
ended.
right at the graduate. Yeah. Oh God. Just so as we kind of wrap up here, final thoughts. Let's go, Megan. Final thoughts on the series as a whole for you. What was your favorite season, if you have one?
Eddie season.
Yeah, season 4.
Yeah.
I would say
I
season
can't-
4 is
in my
notoriously
head,
probably
like,
the
I've
best.
been rewatching it over and over for the past few months. So like the first, like all the season numbers are kind of mushed together. So
I would say season 4 is probably the best season in my opinion too, in the way
Yeah.
they left it and everything like that.
yeah,
So there was some real badassery there that we got, and also everything with Henry as well. The way we didn't know he was the villain at first, he was just this really creepy nice dude, and then he turned out to be the bad guy. Like, yeah, then
What
we
an
got the
amazing
amazing solo
actor.
too. Some master of puppets, man. Just Jamie Campbell Bower, his
Yeah.
music taste as well, exquisite. So I want him to be in a lot more things. I would love to see him. He would have been like a great Brainiac pick. So a Scarecrow is somebody I would love to see. Actually, I would love to see him cast as Scarecrow.
That's a good pick. Yeah. Wow.
Ooh,
Cooking
I
with
like
something.
that.
For you
Just
guys,
threw that out there. You thought
did.
about that one. Admit it.
There's no way you just like off the top of your head.
I've been thinking about that one because I've been thinking, because Scarecrow's my favorite Batman villain, and he's really horror themed. Jamie Campbell Bower played the Vecna horror aspects really twisted really well, so it just kind of fits.
Man,
there.
start that internet petition. I'll back you. I think that's a great choice.
I'm on board too. Isn't he in a like post-hardcore band too, or something
Might
like
have been.
that?
He has. I know that he was talking like his favorite bands are like Architects, Sleep Token, that kind of stuff. So
Oh yeah.
he's speaking my language.
Metal Imagine Dragons. Let's go.
Yes. So Thomas, what season was your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys, I think season 4 was definitely the best. It was just complete. It kind of moved the characters along. It like ended on this insane cliffhanger. It was so good. But after rewatching every season leading up to this one, I gotta say they did something truly special in season 1. Again, like you're talking about casting, you're talking about intrigue, just so simple too. It was just such a, like, what happens if a kid disappeared and went into a different dimension? Like, it's so
apparently too, the only deleted scene that they cut was of Noah's or Mike carrying Will's dead body. So he was also supposed to be dead back then, just in season 1, which they cut. That they came out with that today, I guess.
Wow, I did not know that. Well,
Yeah,
however they pivoted was perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen that because Mike was very small.
Also, yeah, very good point. He's a
Yeah,
real-
sure. They do something weird though in season 1 where there's a fake dead body that's stuffed with stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like
Yeah,
that doesn't get talked about enough because there's a whole thing going on there while they're like, oh, he's not even here. He's in another dimension. And it's like, hey, guys, someone put this dead body here, though. This fake
Right.
one's here from somewhere. So we got to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Derek says he
Totally.
thinks season 1 is the best. I will take that. I would take that. It
Yeah,
set off the
it's
cultural
so
phenomenon that is
scary.
80s nostalgia.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
People
and
started
it's
playing D&D because of this show.
Also, like the lights and everything too that they did with that. Like you're
So
right,
clever.
it really did set off like a new horror aspect at the same time.
Yep.
Totally. Yeah, it was just really clever. It was tightly written. Every character had something to do. Everything was impactful. There was so much mystery there. It was like, I've seen a lot of arguments that it should have been one and done, and every season should have been just a completely different story. I would have been on board with that. But now coming full circle with what we got here, my last things on this, not perfect. There's so many loose ends in season 5. There's so many dips. Episode 5 was arguably not good. It was probably the second worst episode in the whole series. But I think that there are elements of this show that are going to just live with me. And I'm going to want to revisit this show, especially after watching the finale again today. It's like, yeah, my son's 6 weeks old, but I know at some point when he can watch all this, I'll be like, dude, check this out, because this is like Star Wars's American mythology. I think that there is a part of this that is so Americana. It's so creative. It's so just this time capsule of all these amazing movies from the 80s and 90s in one group of characters that you end up just loving, and you just want to like grow with them. And to see them finally put down their books from D&D one last time emotionally, it was like, damn, I'm gonna miss them. So I think that's how I feel about this season.
I would agree. And Chris, you said season 4 was your favorite, of course.
I was gonna say season 4, and then I changed it. I swerved it because listening to Thomas talk about season 1, you know what? That's a real, because everything gets set up from season 1. And without the build and the knowledge of where things were, because if they were just making stuff up as they went, this show would have gone off the rails. You had to have known some kind of trajectory, and to cast the right kids, to have the right cast throughout, and to make sure that it lasts and was able to continue on is just genius. And I think this is going to be one of those shows that has lasting power. Like I said, the day after, I was kind of sad. Me too. I wanted more Stranger Things, but I knew it wasn't ever coming. It was watching your kid graduate, walk out the door, and go on to their next life. And seeing yourself in that, and then, being sad that you've watched these kids grow up, and now you kind of want to see what they do next. That's why I wouldn't be mad if we got another, if 10 years from now, they were like, guess what? 11 was alive, and now they're all adults, and they got what? Right? I wouldn't be mad at that, because then I get to see those characters and see where they are with their lives, because we care about them. I saw a lot in the kids, in all of them. I saw their, my own friends, and all of that.
I would agree. I'm with you. I would love to. And granted, I didn't love the finale the way that it ended. But overall, this was an amazing show. I think it really was a show that you can say, yeah, I'm satisfied with the conclusion, which is rare, because I was kind of looking through the list of TV shows that ended that had good finales, and there really wasn't many on there. And so
I've done that project recently, and I'm like, man, shows don't end well. It's hard to end a show.
Hardest thing, how do you end it? And nobody's ever going to be fully satisfied, no matter what you do. And that's just the truth of, especially where we're at today in pop culture. So for what it was, I enjoyed it. Do I obviously have nitpicks? Of course. But at the end of the day, Stranger Things is something that is very special. It honestly might be one of those things that really is one of the biggest pop culture events, like Star Wars, like you mentioned, where it transcends generations, because Lauren, my co-host, her daughter's 13 and doesn't watch any Marvel, none of that, but she is diehard Stranger Things. And of course we have us here. So it's one of those things that really is something for everybody of all ages to do. And it's very, very hard to do that, but it is sad to see it go. I'm with you guys. As we do wrap up, Chris, where can people find all of your social medias and things that you're up to here at Nerd Initiative?
I am very full of myself and thought I was really, really clever way back in the day when I set up my Twitter. So I set up my Twitter as @RealChrisTrue. While I don't have Twitter anymore, you can find me on Threads, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and you guessed it, under @RealChrisTrue.
Whoa.
True is my last name.
He's the real one. So
right. Listen,
Like I'm so nervous being in front of the real one.
I just have your slander still in my phone because that's what I remember meeting you as anyway. So like you're just still that because you're still the GOAT. By the way, Chris is the vocalist in a deathcore band. So you guys should go check out Divided. Just saying.
Yeah, come hang out. Come, we're getting ready to get back into practices and stuff. We're going to be doing shows around here, probably.
You know
at
that
Riff House,
we'll be
but hey,
there at the merch booth and doing photographies and stuff for them. So
with his one eye.
yeah, with my one eye. Hopefully, I have two at that point. But we'll see. Thomas,
Sniper.
where can people find you? What are some things that you got going on both Nerd Initiative and you also have a pretty sick podcast?
Thank
pretty
you. Yeah, it's pretty sick. No, it's just because it's called Sick Burn. You can find it at Sick Burn Pod or Sick Burn Podcast anywhere. And yeah, everything else. Also, I will say, Chris is amazing. And Megan, actually, all you guys, everybody's amazing on Threads too. I was like, I don't even know what to say half the time, and you guys like come in with some like amazing posts. Or I was like, damn, that's a good point. Damn, that's a good point. So you guys, everybody here is incredible. And then just personally, it's just Thomas Craig, Roman numerals VIII, Thomas Craig 8.
Go find him. Megan, with the Vigilante Vibes, what's happening in the world of your Marvel podcast?
Well,
And Nerd Haven too. We also got that. You do a lot.
yeah,
of things.
Nerd Haven's on Facebook. If you want to join a non-toxic nerd group, we're non-toxic and we talk all things nerdy. You can join there. My Marvel podcast is doing well until Marvel is starting to piss me off lately, but
That's another conversation.
You gotta listen to the
Anyways,
podcast for that.
Pluribus, yes.
Where do I go to
Pluribus,
join a toxic Marvel?
Oh, you just go on
Twitter.
Twitter.
Okay.
Well, if you want a toxic Marvel thing, hit me up after hours because that's how I've been feeling lately.
Oh man, yeah. Megan
Copyright
was,
stuff, all of
spicy
it. I'm just so
yesterday.
mad. I've been so mad for days, but that's fine.
Yes.
Yes, but my podcast is a non-toxic Marvel podcast. I do character breakdowns, trailer reactions when I'm allowed, movie reviews, all that great stuff. And yes, join the Nerd Haven and then check out Nerd Initiative. We're everywhere. So
Absolutely. You guys make sure like these three here, Chris has been on, he's been doing incredible work with the movies and just nailing every aspect of watching every movie and talking about movies. And then, you know, Thomas has really come in talking, he's done incredible work with his videos. And then, like I said, 2026 is a big year, gonna be a big year. And Megan has been on the bullpen and no big deal. You can find her quotes on most Marvel. If chances are, if there's a Marvel trade out there and you see on the back of that Marvel trade Nerd Initiative, unless it's Wolverine, it's most likely Megan, her bull quote. So shout out to all of you. Like Thomas is doing amazing comic reviews. He's diving into in 2026. We're going to be looking to start up a couple podcasts, I should say. We're revamping some things here at Nerd Initiative. If you've known, we've done Turn a Page, which is comic focused, but we're going to be retooling some things. So make sure you go ahead, like, subscribe, all that good stuff to Nerd Initiative to find out what we're doing. We've got a lot of great people on. We're talking anime, video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, man. We might even do a little bit of sports action. And then, of course, you can find me, Hops Geek News, Lauren and I, who is also part of Nerd Initiative. We just talk pop culture, drink a beer, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, thank you guys for coming and talking Stranger Things tonight. This was very cathartic. And I can't wait to do it again here soon. So everybody out there, subscribe. We will see you guys next time. Peace. Sweet.
hey guys.